Toe meets leather to start this football season. Don't forget about your lawn. Sod webworms and other turf-destroying insects are on the move. Before they can score a touchdown in your lawn, call Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control to set up the right defense for your property. Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. With the yellow and blue trucks, make your lawn green. Call us, local, 890-5820. Remember, 890-5820.
Experience a higher level of service. David Adamson Designer Jewelry has been providing you the very best of fine jewelry and repair in Lynn Haven for over 32 years. David has added Amber Anderson and Russ Clear, names you've known and trusted in PCB for years with your fine jewelry and watch needs. Find that one-of-a-kind engagement ring, that special anniversary gift, or something colorful just for you. Amber and Russ will find it or build it for you. Serving Bay County and beyond in Lynn Haven at the corner of Ohio Avenue and 9th. David Adamson Designer Jewelry.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn Haven, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat.
the Inside Drive. From college to the pros, interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey, and good Tuesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, Parker, Callaway, Lynn Haven, Southport, West Bay, wherever you're listening from. We appreciate you tuning in right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. And if you're down there in Port St. Joe on 101.9, we appreciate that very much as well. That reverse surge and north wind clearing out the bays a little bit this morning. So a lot of low tide going on. I don't even know what you're doing back there. But looking good with that Dynasty hoodie on.
Thank you, sir. I'm just opening up a vaporizer.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's like I saw you look like my dog getting into the trash all the time. But yes, you can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, follow, all those things. That's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We've got 3 great shows streaming live every day, not only on the radio, but also over the internet as well. And people still keep calling it a podcast, but I'm going to tell them it's a radio show.
How old are the people that's calling it a podcast?
The person I was talking with,
this is individual.
Yeah, I was up in North Alabama, for Thanksgiving and all that. And one of best friends growing up was having her birthday party. So we went to that. And her husband is like, yeah, I heard you do a podcast or something like that. I was like, yes, I do a radio show. It is on ESPN Northwest Florida. It goes over the airways. But I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. But anyway.
It's just the day and age that we live in.
Everything's
in fact,
a podcast.
Most people will probably be like, it's probably cooler that you have a podcast more so than a radio show. Yeah. It's like, yeah, but, we don't even know the numbers we do here at the radio show. Could be good, could be bad, but whatever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Certainly on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, though, you can watch
the podcast side of it.
The podcast side, indeed. The streaming side, some might say. But the Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, the Inside Drive right here from 11 to 1. Of course, the Afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. You can watch all those right there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can watch them live, or you can watch them after the fact, which I think is what you can do with podcasts as well.
Right.
Of course, you can also download our free mobile app if you want to listen to us streaming and have us right there on your phone. That's the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to do is search up 104.3. And then, of course, last but not least, if you only have an internet browser and you want to listen, you go to ESPNPC.com. You can click Listen Live. And, of course, while you're there, you can sign up for Lucid Streams TV, that little TV channel icon on the homepage, offering a free 3-day trial right now. And it's only $40 a month. That is, I guarantee that is less than whatever cable bill, streaming service, whatever you're paying now, unless you're just not, watching anything on a television, then you're probably not. But I guarantee that Lucid Streams TV certainly is going to be a little more affordable than most services out there. And again, you can find that on ESPNPC.com.
I've been using it to watch movies. I've actually been watching more movies, Ryan.
Wow.
Than I've been watching sports, by far.
Wow.
I've watched 3 Christmas movies this year, which is more than I have in the combined last 3 to 4 Christmas seasons.
May I ask which movies?
Bad Santa 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Violent Night. And what was the other one? I did start watching. What's the one with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg in it, like Daddy's Home or something?
Yeah,
like that?
yep.
So it was the second one of that because I had seen the first one.
Gotcha.
So actually, it's 4 because there's another one, and then there's another one I want to watch, Dear Santa, which is like streaming on Paramount Plus. So I haven't figured out, like, they don't have that one on the Lucid stream.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah. Hey, no.
Yeah, so
'tis the season.
Yeah.
Bad Santa, man. That's the first one. I'm trying to remember the second one, but
the second one, I just feel like the cussing was so weird in it. Like, to be honest, it's just like,
a little
you're
over
just
the
like,
top.
It's like you're just saying stuff to say stuff. Like, I feel like if you're gonna say, curse words or whatever, they need to be like a point of emphasis, not just like. It was like if you guys are just cussing back and forth at each other, I'm like, okay, whatever. But it was still funny. The premise of the movie was,
Yep. Bad Santa, the irony, no doubt about that. Billy Bob Thornton, interesting character there in both of those movies. But yeah, you can, one of the beautiful things about Lucid Streams, over 10,000 movies streaming on demand. I know David was busy yesterday because I see all this paperwork, and man,
I didn't do that. But I was busy.
But you did do the clocks to set all these games up. So we got a lot of football action coming up here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Obviously, last night, if you were listening on ESPN, it was the Browns and the Broncos. We'll talk about that game here in just a moment. But coming up on Thursday Night Football, one of the most anticipated Thursday Night Football games of the season, I think that's pretty fair to say thus far, with the NFC North matchup. Huge matchup here between the Packers and the Lions. Coverage will start on Thursday at 6:30, kickoff at 7:15. And, of course, Sunday, we've got a nice slate of games lined up for you. That starts with the Browns and the Steelers. The Browns got the best of the Steelers in that last game. That was one of the Steelers' 3 losses. That coverage starts at 11 a.m., kickoff at 12. That'll be followed by the Niners and the Bears, which is pretty insane that the Niners are favored in that game.
The Bears stink in general, but they also stink on the road even more so. And those Niners got to get their head out of their tail eventually, right?
I don't know. I mean, now you've lost Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason. So if you guys are looking for a running back that's going to get a lot of touches, Isaac Guerrero, he might be the one. We got 1 week left of regular season fantasy football, so he might be a waiver wire pickup. But if you're in my league, I hopefully get him before you do for the playoffs coming up here soon. But yeah, that game will follow the Browns-Steelers game, and then the last game, that'll be Sunday Night Football, the Chargers at the Chiefs. Another game I am looking forward to. Can the Chiefs find another way to win a football game? Or can those Los Angeles Chargers keep pushing hard in that AFC West, trying to lock in their playoff spot? That'll again be 6:30 coverage, kick at 7:20. And then last but not least, ending your week 14, I think, activity, 13, 14, something. It might be 13.
One of them.
It's one of those weeks. Anyway, we got about the last
Conference Championship week.
Yes, Conference Championship week, indeed. And I'll get to that just in a moment. But it's winding down. It's the last bye week of the NFL season. So Monday Night Football will be the Bengals and the Cowboys.
Oh, you're still talking NFL.
Yeah. Well, that's how many games you got lined up.
Yeah, no doubt.
Looking great.
There's a ton.
But yes, pivoting to the Conference Championship week, we've got 3 right here on the docket on ESPN Northwest Florida. That's going to start with Friday. That is the AAC, the American Athletic Championship. No?
No, I don't know who did that.
Okay.
We're not doing that.
All right, just kidding. Just kidding. If you want to, I'm sure it's on TV.
Friday, we're going to be playing the Magic at the 76ers.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Joel Embiid probably won't be playing, but that's okay. But yeah, okay. So we'll pivot to Saturday. We've got the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game that I'm assuming the kickoff's at 11 a.m. Coverage starts
10 a.m.
10 a.m. There you go.
So I don't even know what that is over there.
Okay. Well, hopefully this next one will be the correct.
That's just what ESPN has available over there. Yeah. So. All right, so let me tell you what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to pivot to you. I'm going to drop back.
We're going to have
the pass behind the glass.
We'll have the Big 12 Championship coverage starting at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. kickoff. Then we're going to pivot over to the SEC Championship. Lord willing, the game will be over by 2:30, but 2:30 is when coverage will start, 3 p.m. kickoff, and then we'll finish it up with the ACC Championship, and that'll be your full slate of college football games Saturday.
Full slate indeed. And, nobody really wanted to listen to the AAC. Anyway,
what's that? Army and Tulane,
Army and Tulane,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
I think we haven't played a Magic game all year, and we sit here and we're like, we're like,
select. Our first select game is coming up this Friday.
So I selected that one to be the case.
And the Magic they're doing good right now. I think they're in the top 3 in the East, if I'm not mistaken. We'll be talking to Doc A here in the next segment. And then, of course, also a big one. We've got Brad Law coming up at 12:20 today. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Network. Another big game for your number 2 ranked Auburn Tigers, as they will be traveling up there to visit the Cameron Crazies in Cameron Indoor Arena. That game will be right here on ESPN Northwest. Florida 745 coverage. Tip-off at 8:20. That is number 2 Auburn versus number 9 Duke. As we, Auburn maybe be a basketball school this year, and maybe we'll find out a way.
No, maybe that's a definite.
Oh yeah, definitely. Long way to go, but maybe next year too we'll add that football back into it a little bit more as well, with some better recruiting and all those things. That's all your programming coming up here this week, I should say. I mean, a lot of football action right here, so don't change your dial. Leave it on 104.3 if you're here local, and of course if you're down there in Port St. Joe, 101.9. All right, we had some Monday night football last night, and another over hit on the totals, and a lot of interceptions as well. But hey, Bo Nix and those Denver Broncos improved to 8-5 on the season after a nice 41-32 victory over the Cleveland Browns, who Jameis Winston, he's passionate, but certainly looks a little bit more like the Jameis that we've seen throughout the years.
It's every other game for my man.
Yeah.
My favorite quarterback in the league. I don't care about the interceptions, man.
That's it. Passing yards, man. He almost had the record.
Well, it's not about passing yards. It's really about the sound bites that he provides and the person that he is and the leader that he is. I really look up to that. But yeah, it's tough when you're turning the ball over like that. But this is nothing new. This is Jameis Winston his whole career.
And he's still,
consistency is key, right?
Yeah, he's not like he's deviating from that. But if you had Jerry Jeudy in fantasy, I was well ahead in a Yahoo league, and the guy I was playing had Jeudy, and that just that didn't work out so well, as he went for 235 yards on 9 receptions and 1 touchdown. Jameis threw for 497, which was the second most in Monday Night Football history, behind the Tom Brady, who threw for 511, which is a lot of passing yards. But he also broke the Browns' single-season game franchise record, and like I said, he was only 517 was back in 2011. That's what Tom Brady threw for on a Monday Night Football game. He also threw 3 interceptions, which we talked, including 2 pick sixes, making him the first player in NFL history to have 450 passing yards in a game with multiple pick sixes. If you had those pick 6 yards, he would have broken an NFL record for a single season passing yard game. But, Bo Nix threw 2 interceptions as well, but also had a 93-yard touchdown pass. I believe that was to Marvin Mims Jr. Yeah. And that's obviously Bo Nix being a rookie. That is his longest touchdown pass in his young career. But Bo Nix's 17th NFL touchdown pass was not only the longest of his career, it was the longest by a passer from an Alabama high school or college in NFL history. So a little Alabama state record there for Mr. Bo Nix, although he finished out his career up there in Oregon.
That's talking high school.
Yeah, high school, absolutely, where he played not too far away from the University of Auburn. So, but hey, Denver Broncos, man, 8-5. Sean Payton, rookie quarterback. Bo Nix, he's trying to go toe-to-toe with Jaden Daniels for that offensive rookie of the year. And they pretty much got everything in front of them. They're locked in right now for a playoff spot, depending on how things continue to go. Update 2 coming out of the NFL. Azeez Al-Shaair was handed down a 3-game suspension for his hit against Trevor Lawrence. NFL Vice President of Football Operations John Runyon issued the suspension and wrote in a letter, during your game against the Jacksonville Jaguars on December 1st with 4:20 remaining in the second quarter, you were involved in a play that the league considers unacceptable and a serious violation of playing rules. Video shows you striking the head neck area of Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence after he clearly goes down in a feet first slide. You led with your forearm and helmet and delivered a forceful blow to the head neck area of your opponent when you had time and space to avoid such contact. After the illegal hit, you proceeded to engage in a brawl, which you escalated when you pulled an opponent down to the ground by his face mask. After the referee announced that you were disqualified for the hit and your unsportsmanlike acts, you removed your helmet and re-engaged with your opponent while walking down and across the field, which started another physical confrontation near the end zone. Your lack of sportsmanship and respect for the game of football and all those who play, coach, and enjoy watching it is troubling and does not reflect the core values of the NFL. Your continued disregard for NFL playing rules puts health and safety of both you and your opponents in jeopardy and will not be tolerated. I know he has appealed that suspension with the league, and I know even Coach DeMeco Ryans kind of had support, so to speak. Said he stands behind his player, and DeMeco was when Azeez was with the Niners. I mean, DeMeco was our defensive coordinator there, and he's obviously a huge part of that Texans defense. He's a fantastic linebacker.
He was a Titan last year, and he's DeMeco Ryans is the reason that
he came.
Out here over there. Yeah.
And I mean, and that's just how the guy plays. He's an aggressive I mean, I don't know.
I'm okay. So I'm right there with you because everyone's been calling it a dirty play. And okay, yes, in the grand scheme of things
are so tough.
It is very tough, right? And we know how they treat quarterbacks, and it is a dirty play. Like in if we're speaking in generalization terms,
absolutely.
All right. But if you know how Azeez, he deserves the suspension too.
Yeah.
Right? He's already came out and apologized.
And he's had issues in the past where he's gotten in trouble and done things as well.
The kid was homeless growing up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So he's got, he's cut from a different cloth. All right. I'm not excusing the behavior. What I'm saying is sometimes we can look a little deeper than just the surface. And all right, hey, listen, the suspension is necessary right there because you can't just, go after a quarterback. And then to escalate the situation afterwards, no doubt. But when you play with a chip on your shoulder, when you play with as much hustle that we would like to see from other players, when he's a hard hitter, that's just the nature of the beast in which Azeez Al-Shaair is. And so I'm not excusing it. It's a dirty play, 100% agree. However, I don't think in his mind when he was doing that, was doing it out of a malicious intent beyond what's your job as a defender. Knock the back in the day, if this was 10 years ago,
clean hit.
I'm not going to say it's a clean hit. You might
by the rules it might be.
Right. Right, but it's also one of those situations where everyone's like, yeah, man, that's exactly what you want. Anytime you get a chance to put a lick on the quarterback, that's what you want. And the nature of the game has changed, all that good stuff, and they're looking out for the health and safety of the players, which is huge, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's the longevity of their life after the game of football. However, it's one of those things where I look at it and everyone's wanting to throw all the stones, and I'm like,
It's like the flag planting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of the same thing.
I mean, my goodness gracious. Like, everyone's acting like this is just happening this year, the flag planting stuff. And it's like, no, man. Y'all just are so caught up in, like, what's going on right now.
We're looking for something to be upset about constantly.
Just need to moan, don't you?
That's it.
There's other ways to figure out a way to moan.
Yeah, no doubt. But, yeah, I mean, you see the quarterback running to you. You're a linebacker. You're getting up to full speed. You're ready to make a play, and it's when the quarterback's like, what is he gonna do?
Yeah,
like flip out of the way or just not make a play?
Well, I will also say this on the devil's advocate side, if you will. I mean, he was about 2 yards away from him when Trevor started sliding. Yeah. But here's the other situation. I don't think a lot of, and again, I'm not trying to say that he shouldn't be suspended. We got that. Yeah. What I'm saying is there's a first down marker. He sees that quarterback running towards first down marker. What's your job? I want to get you down before that first down marker.
Absolutely.
And the other tough thing is he's a quarterback. So if a running back was doing that, I guess nowadays anyone who slides is giving themselves up. But it's so hard to have that click in your head when you're trying to put someone down.
We go line up outside and you're the quarterback and I'm trying to make a play on you. And I don't know when you're going to slide, but the quarterback, as soon as he gives himself up, is now free to get not a hit.
Yeah.
That's just so tough. That's such an anti-football thought and move. And again, I'm with you. I think he should be suspended. 3 games seems like a lot. That's really going to punish them down the stretch with such a good football player. Yeah. Maybe they'll appeal it and get it down to 1 or 2 or something.
I don't think that's their budget on that.
Yeah.
You got to make an example when you have the opportunity to make an example. So I understand completely where the league is coming from. I just don't think that it's as dirty as what the rest of the social media world is making it out to be.
Overreactions. That is certainly the case. That is for sure. All right, did want to give everybody an update on the pigskin.
I believe Trevor Lawrence is doing fine. By the way,
he's obviously has a concussion and is doing well. But yeah, wanted to update everybody. I know Jay is playing in a golf tournament right now, so he is not here. But I will update the pigskin pick'em, the 850 pick'em as it's dubbed, is currently being led by Jay Henley, the bus driver. He's 143 and 52, followed by Barrett Townsend with 137 and 58. So Jay has kind of built himself a pretty decent lead as we get down to the waning weeks of the season. And then Kyle Albritton hanging out in third, 136 and 59. And then Z. Lesnar, 135 and 60. Mark McLeod, Danny Griffin, and Liam rounding out 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm hanging out back there in 21st place.
Nice. It's funny, and one of the Barrett is happy birthday to you. Yesterday was Barrett's birthday. I'm in a fantasy football league with him, and he was like, "Who is this Jay Henley guy?" I was like, "Oh, the bus driver." Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, like I go 14-1 and still can't catch him." I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, he's like actually a bus driver and a football savant." Like I didn't know how. I would have thought that he knew who Jay Henley was, but hey, maybe not.
Well, you're probably going to feel bad if you actually knew who he was and his football knowledge. But hey, it just goes to show you that you may know as much as anybody in the world about football, and it doesn't necessarily equate to picking games correctly. And that's certainly what makes betting and doing these pick'ems a lot of fun. But we got to take a quick break. It's been a couple weeks, but we're going to get him back on the line. That's our good friend Steve Alexander, but we know him as Doc A. Give us an update on what's going on in the NBA and who you need to pick up on your fantasy teams. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. Russell Wilson needed Mike Tomlin, a head coach that isn't looking over his shoulder in the meeting rooms. Mike lets offense do offense. And I don't know if this team, Pittsburgh, is going to beat Philly in 2 weeks or Baltimore in 3, but Tomlin and Russell Wilson are perfect.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, clear skies and a high of 57 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour out of the north. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 39. Tomorrow, sunny and a high around 61. For Thursday, possible thunderstorms and a high of 69. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hello, this is Rick Wasser with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer, located at 2241 East Baldwin Road. Shopping for a garage, portable building, cabin? We build them anywhere from 8 to 16 foot wide, 10 feet to 60 feet long. We can do insulation, electricity, transom dormers, thermal windows. Come, let's customize a building together. Rick Vossen, Stormore Portable Building Dealer, Panama City.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. And now,
Doctor, my eyes.
Doc A joins the Inside Drive. It's just what the doctor orders.
Oh, doctor!
Talk to your doctor before use.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is how we do it.
And we are back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live on this cool but beautiful Tuesday morning. It's been a few weeks. We were off last Tuesday, but our good friend, NBA fantasy expert, and just unbelievable guy in general, Doc A, is on the line with us. Doc, how the heck was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was pretty chill, pretty good. I watched a lot of football, drank a couple beers.
There you go. Ate some turkey, maybe some ham. I don't know.
I ate some ham. I'm glad I'm not at the doctor right now because my wife called me this morning. She's like, Soren's cabinet above his toilet fell.
Yikes.
And I was like, okay. And she's like, well, I think it almost killed him, and it's really heavy, and it's laying in the middle of his bathroom floor. So I'm like, no big deal. I go down there. Man, this thing sits right above his toilet and weighs like 250, 300 pounds, and just came crashing down while he was brushing his teeth.
Whew. Good thing he wasn't going number two.
Dude, if he was sitting on the toilet, he might be dead, or we'd be at the hospital right now. And
we got a two.
We just couldn't wait till this year is over, and it almost got us again before it got out of here. So I'm just thankful that he was able to go to school today and isn't in a emergency room somewhere.
Yeah, no doubt. That would have been a freak accident. That is for sure. Did want to give you a big shout out, and I forget the gentleman's name that it kind of came through, but me and Liam obviously went to the Hawks-Mavs game last Monday night. Got there just a little bit after tip-off with that fun Atlanta traffic, but just wanted to give you a big shout out and a thank you for getting us over there. We had a fantastic time and a very cool experience for his first NBA game.
That's our guy, Bob Rathbun, the voice of the Hawks. Him and Dominique do the TV broadcast. And Bob befriended me about 15, 20 years ago, and we've been buddies ever since. And he's super. He's just a great guy. And I will tell him that you said thank you.
Yes, please do, because that was very enjoyable, a lot of fun, and we've been to a lot of football games, and I was talking yesterday on the air. It's just a little more chill at an NBA basketball game. Halftime there's not 8 gajillion people out there in the concourse, and State Farm Arena. Last time I had been to State Farm Arena was actually the Phillips Arena, and that would have been a Devils and Thrashers hockey game. That was the last time I had been inside that arena, but a very nice arena, a lot of cool amenities, and the Chick-fil-A cow drop was exciting and all that good stuff. Did you
guys catch a cow?
Liam did indeed catch a cow. Those seats right there were in a perfect cow catching location. So good time. Good time.
Catching a cow is a big deal for the kids. My kids, if they didn't get a cow, somebody was crying.
Yeah, it's kind of life, right? Cows make people happy. Milk, beef, whatever it may be, they can make it happen. That's for sure. But obviously it's been a couple weeks since we've been on the air actually. NBA's moving and shaking. Injuries keep happening. A lot of people emerging. The Lakers are not winning a lot of games right now after going off to such a great start. Who are some of the players that you guys have been talking about on the Sports Ethos podcast about who to be picking up to try to keep your team going in the right direction?
Yeah, if you guys like basketball, go to sportsethos.com. Follow me on Twitter, DOCKTRA. Rick Camlin and I go live every night as soon as the games end, and we break down everything that's coming up tomorrow, everything that happened that night. And even if you're not a fantasy basketball player, if you just like the NBA, it's a good time, man. It's really fun. Zach Richache is kind of playing well for the Hawks, along with DeAndre Hunter. Those are both guys that you can think about picking up. Yves Missi, who's a center for the Pelicans, kind of a walking double-double right now. The Pelicans don't have any centers. Missi's really the only one. He's playing pretty well. And then Jaime Jaquez, who was hot about a year ago for the Miami Heat, got a start last night. He's been really quiet this year, but he started for the Heat. Watch for him. If he sticks in the starting lineup for them, he's going to put up some numbers. So those are 3 guys right now that are kind of hot. And then Dyson Daniels, who you saw play for the Hawks.
Yeah.
probably the best value pick in all of fantasy hoops this year. I think he's like top 25 fantasy value overall right now, but I mean, people were drafting him 6th, 7th, 8th round, somewhere in there. And he's a steals machine, and he's just putting up ridiculous numbers.
There you go. There you go. And like Doc said, you can follow him on Twitter. Check out that podcast nightly after all the NBA games get going. You just made me think of something I didn't talk about yesterday on the air. At the Hawks game, during one of their promotional things that they do, the contest, during TV timeouts and stuff like that, somebody actually scheduled a proposal and proposed to his girlfriend down there on the court during one of those, and she said yes. So that was even more exciting for us there to witness a proposal there in person at the Hawks game.
Did you try to tell him not to do it?
No, I think Liam was standing up and saying, "Don't do it, don't do it." But everybody was cheering, so I don't think they could hear him. But yeah, so he made that happen, and she seemed excited. Holiday season coming up, nothing like getting engaged. All right, Doc, if I'm correct, tonight is the last day of group play for the NBA Cup. Is that correct?
That is how I understand it,
okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a lot of games on the docket tonight, and a lot of teams still not locked in. I know from Group A, it looks like the Magic and the Knicks are both locked in to move on, because I think it's 2 teams from each group that move on to the single elimination bracket play. In Group B, it looks like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Detroit Pistons, both 3-0 in that one. The Hawks have clinched on their side. Let's see, clinched the division, but you still have a couple teams. The Boston Celtics have not clinched yet, but the Hawks 3-1 in theirs, the Celtics 3-1 as well. Over there on the Western Conference, the Rockets clinched their division. The Trailblazers and the Clippers still have a chance to make it in. Group B, the Spurs, Thunder, and Suns all still have a chance to make it in. Golden State Warriors also 3-0. They clinched their division, but the Mavs, the Nuggets, and the Grizzlies all still have a chance to move on to the bracket play of the NBA Cup. I know last year it was the first year, the in-season tournament. Now it's called the NBA Cup. Do you like the element that's kind of added to the NBA, just kind of giving you a little more something to be excited about early in the season?
I do. This is a weird week, though. In fantasy on Yahoo, they're combining this week and next week as one big scoring period.
Oh, wow.
Because we don't know the schedule next week because of the playoffs for the Cup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they combine these weeks together, and we only get 4 ad drops for the 2-week period, which is not very many. And there's so many injuries right now. You need those ad drops to be able to stay competitive. So it's adding an interesting wrinkle that way. But yeah, the cup is pretty fun. And how about those Houston Rockets, man? They're in second place in the West, only a half game behind the Thunder. They have 1 more loss, same number of wins, and they're fully healthy. Alpi Şengün, their center, is playing out of his mind. Fred VanVleet's playing really well. The Rockets have a really fun young team, and they're as fun to watch as anybody on TV this year.
Yeah, no doubt. The standings kind of, a couple weeks when we talked, it was kind of like in the Eastern Conference, you had 2 teams and everybody else was about 500. Now you're starting to see a little bit of separation. Obviously, the Cavs still leading the all of the entire NBA at 18-3. Celtics 1-1 yesterday against the Heat, 17-4. But hey, our Orlando Magic have been on a tear in their last 10 games, going 9-1, 15-7 on the young season. Well, what's the deal with the Magic? Just catching fire with some good lineups in there?
Well, they're 15-7, right? They're the same record as the Houston Rockets we just talked about.
Yep.
They're 9-0 at home in Orlando.
Sure.
Nobody's talking about the Magic, but Franz Wagner has been on one, man. He's having an all-star season, and part of that's because Paolo Banchero's out, but part of it's because Franz Wagner's a really good player. And the Magic don't really have any, like, celebrities outside of Paolo Banchero, superstars, but they've got a lot of good role players that do their job effectively. Goga Batadze been playing well in the middle for them. And the Magic are sneaky, man. They're sneaky.
Sneaking right up to third place in the conference right now, so that's obviously exciting. I know we'll have a big promotion coming up here soon. We'll be sending some people to an Orlando Magic game, and if they continue playing like they've been playing at home, you might be able to see a Magic victory there. Speaking of good play, you were telling me about Wemby. Obviously, Wemby is a superstar, second year in the league, but his recent play has been absolutely fantastic. Talk about that a little bit.
He's ridiculous. As I've been saying on this program for more than 2 years, just a freak. And I'm interested to see how many teams that have Wemby on them win their fantasy league this year. And I want to see what it does for the next couple of years. Like, are people going to look at him and say, he's not fair? We can't have him in the league because if you get the number one pick and you get Wemby, you're going to win the league. It's to that point. That's how good he is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've been on a tear too in their last 10 games. They've won seven out of their last 10, going 7-3, and just starting to play a little bit better basketball. They're over 500. They're 11-9, and obviously we're only a quarter of the way through the season, so a long way to go. But it would certainly be nice to see the Spurs in the playoffs this year, just to have.
And they get Jeremy Sohan back tonight, and Jeremy Sohan is kind of an important player for them. Harrison Barnes has been filling in the gaps while he's been out, but he's back, and he's going to make them even better. So Chris Paul did a good job of running that offense and taking care of Victor Wembanyama, and the Spurs are just kind of quietly cruising along.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be good for the NBA and good for everything going on, obviously, for Wemby to make his first playoff appearance, hopefully in the spring. But time will tell, and we'll get that figured out. Doc, you've been on fire with the overs and the unders. Is that through the Sleeper Fantasy app that you've been using to do all that stuff?
I'm not. I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose the app.
Yeah. Well, one of those fantasy apps that when it's, you can just bet over-under stuff. It's not actually sports betting like we have the Hard Rock here in Florida, the monopoly that Hard Rock indeed does have. But Underdog is a good place to do that.
Yes. Underdog is available in Georgia. So, yes.
There you go.
Let's say Underdog.
There you go. Underdog it is. Underdog it is. But I was going to go through like we always do. Now, there's quite a few, so we may not get through all of them. But the lineup of games tonight and the over-under and who you are thinking. We'll start with Philadelphia at Charlotte. Right now, Philadelphia is a 4.5-point favorite on the road. Who do you like in that one with the points?
I'm going to take Charlotte and the points. They're at home. No Joel Embiid. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Sixers have won 4 games.
Yeah.
They're 4-14.
Atrocious.
Like, they are struggling badly.
Each year it just seems to keep getting worse.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse. And, I mean, these people that draft Joel Embiid for their fantasy team are like, this sucks, my guy never plays.
And you told us that when the season started. You said stay away from Joel Embiid, and obviously that's proving to be very, very true thus far. All right, so Charlotte plus 4.5 over Philadelphia. Next, we've got Washington at Cleveland. Cleveland is a 16.5-point favorite at home.
Man, that's a lot of points.
A ton of points.
But this is cup play.
Yeah. And they're trying to score as much as they can, right? Because that's a tiebreaker.
Yep. And the Wizards have won 2 games. They're on the road. They're 1-8 on the road. Anything can happen, but I'm going to take the Cavaliers minus all those points just because they should beat this team by 30.
Yep. There you go. I like it. All right, next we got the Milwaukee Bucks at the Detroit Pistons. The Bucks are 4.5-point favorite on the road.
The Pistons are sneaky. 9-13 this season, a young team, up and coming. Cade Cunningham's back. That's a good thing for them. But I feel like the Bucks are kind of at a turning point of their season. Like they either need to go and start winning games, or it's going to be a long season. I'm going to go with the Bucks.
All right, Bucks giving up 4.5 on the road. Next, we got our Orlando Magic traveling up to MSG to try to continue that great play they've had. Obviously, at home, they're undefeated, but they are giving up 4.5 to the Knicks at home. Knicks have obviously been playing a little better basketball the last couple weeks, moving up in the standings. Who do you like in this one, Doc?
The Knicks have been good. They have really good defensive players, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. I think those guys are going to combine to help stop Franz Wagner from the streak he's on, and the Knicks are going to cover.
All right, there you go. Up there in MSG, the Indiana Pacers traveling up to Toronto, north of the border. Indianapolis is getting 2.5 on the road.
Tyrese Halliburton is terrible on the road. I think he's shooting 38%, 37% on the road, and 48% at home. He's scoring 20-something points at home and only like 11 points on the road. They're on the road. I'm gonna say the Raptors are going to hold off the Pacers tonight.
All right, I like it. Next, you got the Utah Jazz at OKC. OKC is a 13.5-point favorite at home.
I don't like all those points, but I love OKC. The Jazz have won 4 games. The Thunder, this is a must blowout for them. I'm going to go with the Thunder minus the points.
All right, there you go. Next, the Memphis Grizzlies at the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas, a 3.5-point favorite at home. I believe Luka is back playing for the Mavs.
He is, and they've won 4 straight. I believe they have Kyrie Irving. The big men are playing well. I'm going to go with the Mavericks minus the points. The Grizzlies are good. They're 14-7. This is a kind of a trap game. I would not bet this personally. But if I was going to bet it, I'd take the Mavericks minus the points.
All right. I may leave that out of however many parlays. I'm going to put a couple bucks on your parlay here and see what happens with Hard Rock. Golden State at the Nuggets. Denver's 4.5-point favorite at home.
Warriors are 12-7. They've got a really weird lineup. They play like 15 guys every night. There's nobody reliable in fantasy there except Steph Curry. And he's been in and out a little bit. Denver's beatable, man. They're only 10-8 on the season. And this game's on TNT. It's a national TV game.
It's the final one of
I think the Warriors are going to kind of be fired up. I think Draymond Green is out for this one, though. I'm going to go with the Nuggets minus the points.
All right. Denver in that one. All right, 2 more to go real quick. We got the Houston Rockets at the Kings. Kings are only a 1.5-point favorite at home.
The Rockets are streaking. They're 6-3 on the road. The Kings are 4-7 at home. Like I said, the Rockets are just so good, top to bottom. They play great defense. I'm going to go for the Rockets and the road upset.
All right, there you go. There you go. Last but not least, the Portland Trailblazers traveling to play the Los Angeles Clippers. Los Angeles Clippers are an 8.5-point favorite at the house.
Clippers are my guys. They got Norm Powell back. I've got like their whole roster except for Ivica Zubac, their center, on my fantasy team. I'm going to go with the Clippers to blow out the Trailblazers in L.A. tonight.
Ooh, there you go. I like it, Doc. I appreciate all the picks there. We appreciate your expertise. Final night of the NBA group play as the bracket play will get started next Tuesday and culminate right before Christmas with your NBA Cup champion. Doc, we appreciate you as always. Good to hear from you. Your voice is sounding better and better every week. Look forward to talking to you again next Tuesday, and I'm sure we'll talk before then.
I'll see you guys then.
All right. Thanks, Doc A. Follow him on Twitter. That's Doc Tora, DOCKTORA. Check out the Sports Ethos podcast with Rick Kamla every night after your NBA action is underway. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the NFL.
Touchdown, Denver!
We bring you the biggest games every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night.
Oh, he's got the first down!
Plus, we'll broadcast more college football games than ever before.
He did what?
Live NFL and college football play here.
Unbelievable!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Touchdown!
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Nelson.
Introducing Lucid Stream TV. Get over 2,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch local network channels from most major markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $41.99 a month. Cut the cord, not the fun. To get Lucid Stream TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click the Lucid TV logo.
At Brock Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be awarded the distinction of being Quality Pro certified.
Our technicians have passed rigorous training in eco-friendly application and prevention of pest treatments.
Part of the program is the practice of integrated pest management.
IPM's goal is to prevent pests from ever entering your home. It includes inspection, prevention, education, and, when necessary, application.
We're proud to be Quality Pro certified.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, the standard and level of trust.
It's the Krispy Kreme Donuts Merry Grinchmas Donut Collection. Inspired by how the Grinch stole Christmas, the donuts in the Merry Grinchmas Donut Collection are from the iconic Dr. Seuss story. Enjoy the Krispy Kreme Grinch Donut, Krispy Kreme Grinchy Claus Donut, and the Krispy Kreme Cindy Lou Who Merry Berry Tree Donut. All available now at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts since 1937, where you get them hot.
Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back to the Inside Drive. That's one of my faves, Jingle Bell Rock, man. It's Christmas time. It's December 3rd. We are counting down the days until Christmas. Make sure you shop with all of our sponsors here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Support local indeed. I believe today is Giving Tuesday or one of those things. We can say something like tomorrow can be...
Take it away Tuesday.
Take it away Tuesday. Getting suspended Tuesday. A lot of things going on here on this Tuesday. But coming up tonight will be the release of the next edition of the college football playoff rankings, which they matter now, but really they're not going to matter until after this weekend.
This is like the second most important one, though, because what happens this week for the teams who aren't playing really does matter. So this gives you probably the deepest insight that you've been able to see throughout the duration of the college football playoff rankings.
Absolutely. One more to go after this one. Usually sometime around 6, 7 o'clock, they dive into it right there on ESPN. But using the Athletics most likely bracket, where they are predicting this right now, obviously Oregon's got that number 1 spot locked up. Obviously they have to play in the Big Ten championship game against Penn State, and if they win that, obviously certainly locking in that number 1 seed going forward. Although number 1 seed may not be the most beneficial seed when it comes to who you'll have to play in that first or in that quarterfinal matchup. It's got Texas as number 2 right now, the potential winner of the SEC championship. Boise State at number 3, higher ranked than the potential ACC champion Clemson at number 4. Boise State playing in the Mountain West championship as well. And then it's got number 5, Penn State. Obviously, the model has them losing to Oregon in the Big 12 or Big 10 championship. And then has Notre Dame, who doesn't have to play this week, not being in a conference. It's going to be interesting to see how that moves on forward, if they're going to make Notre Dame make a step into a conference just to, kind of make it a little more equitable. Because if you don't have to play in your... Now that can be good and bad, depending on the situation. Sometimes being able to play in your conference championship game and win will get you into the playoff. Yeah. Whereas if you don't have an opportunity, maybe you're on the outside looking in. So Notre Dame predicted at number 6 right now. They would take on number 11 SMU. I think that would have Clemson beating SMU in the ACC championship and SMU picking up that 11 seed. Not going to be penalized for losing their conference championship game in this particular scenario. And then number 6, Notre Dame. Number 7, Ohio State taking on Indiana, the number 10 seed. seed right now. Those both dropped from the previous one. Penn State against Arizona State. I guess they have Arizona State losing to Iowa. No, Iowa State's not. I guess they would have Arizona State winning the Big 12 championship. But because the way the rankings are, that Big 12 championship wouldn't get them the first round bye. And then, of course, up at the top of the bracket,
because Boise State would be ranked above them,
and a conference champion. Yeah, no, I like it. Georgia and Tennessee, the 8 and 9 right now. Again, this is the Athletics most likely bracket that we'll see come out tonight. Teams on the bubble.
I really wish that they would manipulate these in the sense of if you can shuffle Tennessee and Ohio State, or Tennessee and Indiana, rather, whatever you got to do, like, let's get some non-conference matchups out of these instead of seeing games that we've already seen. Like, we've seen Ohio State, Indiana. We've seen Georgia, Tennessee. Can the result change? Absolutely. But
kind of more fun with
it. Exactly. Like, what's the difference in 8 and 9, right? Flip-flop or whatever. That, I guess that would be Georgia, Tennessee. But, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You did it last year. Do it again this year.
It'd be fun, too, to have kind of a interactive bracket, too, where you say, this team wins here. Where are they going to go?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
there's not one.
Last year was a lot simpler because there was just the 4 teams.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this takes on. But with AI nowadays, they could do it so easily. Your teams on the bubble: Iowa State, Alabama, UNLV, Miami, and Ole Miss. They don't have South Carolina there on the bubble, and I think South Carolina, in my opinion, deserves more of a bubble shot than Ole Miss does. Just looking at their head-to-head,
but Ole Miss beat the tar out of South Carolina, so it's
True.
like it's one of those things.
True.
Like when you, I
guess that head-to-head matchup is very important when it comes to this.
That has to be the end-all, be-all to an extent. I would say that's just my opinion on it.
No, I mean, because how else would you settle it mano other than lining up against each other on the in the gridiron there?
But then you get like into sticky situations where it's like, all right, well, Georgia, Texas. Let's say Texas beats Georgia. I think both of those teams are absolutely safe. But still, let's say Georgia had 3 losses going into this game.
If they would have lost to Georgia Tech. Yeah.
And then, but it's like, well, Georgia already beat Texas by 15 in Austin, Texas, and then they lose in the SEC championship. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit more, importance, I guess, for the conference championship game. But then again, like, if you're in this situation and you're Georgia and Texas, and we would hate to see this happen, but it could absolutely start happening. Do you, if you know that you're in the college football playoff, do you rest some players in the SEC championship in order, or, maybe not play them for the full 60 minutes? It gets a little convoluted.
Yeah, it starts making those coaches think just a little bit more about what they need to do. But yes, that Ole Miss schedule, they beat Furman, beat Middle Tennessee State, beat Wake Forest, beat Georgia Southern, lost to an unranked Kentucky, did beat the brakes off of South Carolina 27-3 in Columbia, then lost to then 13th ranked LSU, who's now got 4 total losses in overtime, beat Oklahoma, beat Arkansas, beat number 3 ranked Georgia 28-10, one of the more surprising upsets of the season, and then lost the next week to Florida, 2 weeks later after their bye, 24-17, and then finished their season out with a victory in the Egg Bowl over lowly Mississippi State. Whereas those Alabama Crimson Tide have the best shot to sneak into the playoff, depending on what all transpires this weekend. They've got wins against Western Kentucky, South Florida, on the road against Wisconsin. That big Week 4 victory over number 2 ranked Georgia at the time did drop to an unranked Vandy. They did beat South Carolina by 2 points on the road there. They did lose to number 11 then ranked Tennessee, beat Missouri when they were ranked 21st, beat LSU when they were ranked 15th, beat Mercer, had a very, very tough loss there to the Oklahoma Sooners, only scoring 3 points on offense, and of course put Jalen Milroe, put his team on the back against Auburn in the Iron Bowl to round out the season 9-3. South Carolina, they beat ODU, beat Kentucky on the road. They did lose to LSU, number 6 16 at the time. They beat Akron, lost to number 12 Ole Miss, lost to number 7 Alabama, beat Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Vandy, number 23 Missouri, Wofford, and then finished out the season against their rival against number 12 Clemson.
And they've had a great year. Like, you really can't take if the committee wanted to go that direction and say, you know what, we're going to put South Carolina in over Bama again. I disagree because of the head-to-head.
Yeah,
but they've had a great run.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they've had 2 ranked wins, and their 3 losses were against number 7, number 12, and number 16. And Alabama's had, 3 ranked wins, including number 2, and then the head-to-head matchup against South Carolina. And one of the losses of the 3 was to number 11, Tennessee, on the road. So I think if you just compare apples to apples, Alabama has the better resume to get into the college football playoff. But man, kudos to Shane Beamer and what he's done in the back half of the season. They started 3-3 and then finished 9-3. Now I know they've had a couple lesser opponents there too, but they had to go on the road in 3 of those games, including against number 12 Clemson. So we'll find out more about all that action coming up tonight. Like David said, this is a big one to kind of move it in the right direction to see what it's going to shape out to be next week when the final college football playoff rankings of the 2024-25 season shake out. And then David's going to have to get to work on the clocks because there's going to be a lot of playoff games going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Starting December 20th, there will be a game on Friday evening, and then there'll be 3 games December 21st.
And those will all be on campus playoff games.
All of those will be on campus, and they'll all be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Boom, bringing you all of the newest playoff action coming up this December. The season just got started a few months ago back in August, and here we are, December 3rd, and we're rolling right around the corner. Luckily, we've got playoff football on both sides, or two leagues of NFL and college all the way kind of through most of January, which is nice. And then we'll have some Super Bowl action.
It's just ridiculous how fast it flies by, and then you got to go through the whole offseason.
The whole shebang again, yeah.
I remember, it didn't feel like it was that long ago that I was like, 100 days till the NFL starts, and like counting it down,
Yep,
I remember like 49 days till the NFL starts, and now you're like, golly, we're 4 weeks away from the NFL regular season being over. The college football regular season is over, barring, the Army-Navy game, essentially, which is still so wild, right?
Oh, yeah.
Army's got a conference championship game to play, and then the next week they
play against Navy. Because that's just what they do.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the most important game of the year.
Yeah,
so.
America's game. 17th, I believe, right? That'll be, that's always a good one. Usually always played at the Link, right, in Philadelphia?
Yes, I don't know if it's I believe it's the 14th.
14th. I don't know why I said the 17th.
Because the 17th would be a Tuesday, being that today's the 3rd.
We have a game, too, on the 17th.
That's what you're thinking.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. That's America's
AG texted in 100 days until MLB now.
Shit, well, there you go. It'll come and go just as fast. But, hey, I'm excited for the back half of the NHL season because, my Niners suck. They're falling apart. Everybody's injured. Everybody's wanting to get rid of Shanny now, and I don't think that's a good idea. But my Devils are playing great hockey, and they waxed the Rangers last night 5-1, and they've scored 5 goals in their last 3, or 5 or more goals in their last 3 games.
Nice.
So, nice to see the Devils playing some good hockey. Some news out of FAU for all you FAU fans out there. They replaced Tom Herman with Texas Tech's Zach Kittley, and the reason why that is notable is because he is a 33-year-old. He is now the youngest head coach in the FBS.
So he was OC or DC at Texas Tech?
I'm about to tell you. FAU fired head coach Tom Herman after a 2-8 start to this season and an 0-6 start in conference play. Herman, who was hired ahead of the 2023 season, finished his tenure with a 6-16 record. The hire marks Kittley's first head coaching job after spending just over a decade in various assistant coaching roles.
He was the OC.
Yeah, he was a student assistant graduate under Washington Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury at Texas Tech back in 2013. So, man, if he's 33 now, that means he was 23 back. They had grad assistants, so that makes sense. During his first stint with the Red Raiders, he worked with Kansas City Chiefs star quarterback Patrick Mahomes. From there, he served as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Houston Baptist up until last year, where he went over with the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers in 2021, where he worked with quarterback Bailey Zappi, who had a great tenure there. But he's young, and he's excited to get down there to FAU, which has kind of been the school where you've had Tom Herman wasn't really a resurgence, but obviously Lane Kiffin went down there and kind of got through all his nonsense that he was dealing with, got rebounced up, and now he's obviously been doing well there with Ole Miss. So, but yeah, 33 years old. You're kind of starting to see it. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but it seems like these head coaches are getting younger and younger.
You got to be able to deal with the stress of the NIL and the daggum transfer portal as well. So you got to have a lot of time on your hands, which, I mean, obviously these coaches give up all of their time anyways. But, and then you also have to be able to navigate the waters and be able to, what's the word that I'm looking for? Be on the same page with the kids.
Yeah, relate.
Relate.
You got to be able to relate to the, and obviously that's one of those things. You got to, a 72-year-old coach, Mac Brown kind of guy, can't really relate. And then you get these young guys, and maybe that's the formula. Only time will tell, but we got to go ahead and take a quick break. Afternoon Delight Debrief coming up next. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
We're up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Hurricane Helene.
And breaking weather as it happens.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, clear skies and a high of 57 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour out of the north. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 39. Tomorrow, sunny and a high around 61. For Thursday, possible thunderstorms and a high of 69. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WFLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Uh-huh.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
And now, the Afternoon Delight Debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Afternoon Delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon Delight.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive on this beautiful, cool Tuesday. 104.3 here in Panama City and Panama City Beach. 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, follow, all those wonderful things. That's social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Just search it up, ESPN Northwest for you. You'll see our three great shows streaming live every day. We are a radio program, but if you want to see our ugly mugs, you can go right there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch and make that happen. All you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. Of course, you can download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. 104.3 is all you have to search up. Comes right there on your phone. If you got the new iOS 18 update, if you got an Apple, things are certainly looking a little different, but hey, you know what? Change is inevitable, so you better get used to it. Download that app if you have already. We appreciate it very much. If you haven't, it's really easy to do. Just slide on over to your app store and search it up, and you will find it. Then, of course, head over to ESPNPC.com. Scroll down just just a little bit. Lucid Streams TV, over 10,000 movies streaming on demand, 2,000 channels streaming, including NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, women's college basketball, soon-to-be Major League Baseball, hockey, college football, pay-per-view, MMA, boxing, whatever it is on Lucid Streams, except Paramount Plus. But it's got everything else on there that you could possibly need for a mere $40 a month with code ESPN-NW. You can also do a free 3-day trial right now as well. So again, that's on ESPNPC.com. Scroll down just a little bit till you see that TV channel icon and just follow the sign-up process from there. Want to give a shout out to our studio sponsor, Bill Kramer GM and Kramer Marine and Outdoor. If you drive by the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street every day like I do multiple times a day, you'll see all those beautiful used and new cars on that lot. Nothing says Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it may be, than a new vehicle there from Bill Kramer GM. And of course, trade-in values are still very high, so if you want to lower that payment or what you have to shell out in cash, you can trade in that vehicle and they'll get you going ASAP. They'll make it easy for you and of course take great care. They've also got express service and regular service, and you don't have to have a GM vehicle to be involved in that. I can tell you that from personal experience. They do a wonderful job. And then of course on the Kramer Marine and Outdoor side, if you're looking to get a boat for a Christmas or an accessory, whatever it may be, Humminbird, Mini Kota, whatever, they've got it there at Kramer Marine and Outdoor. They're also a Yamaha outboard full line dealer. They'll get you repowered and back out on the water ASAP. They'll even come to you with their mobile service. They just offer the best service over there at Bill Kramer GM and Kramer Marine and Outdoor. You can check them out at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street. All right, I'm going to mention it again. We've got a lot of football action coming up this week. You can see lots of people dance with that football. I know Jay's dancing with some golf balls out there at Camp Creek Golf Club right now with Chris Kramer, Sam Judah, and Jay Rich. Hopefully they're playing some good golf. A little cool, but the wind's not really doing too much. It's almost a perfect day for some fall/almost winter golf out there. But we've got a great lineup. It starts with Thursday. That is going to be your Thursday night football game. Huge NFC North matchup between the Packers and the Lions. That'll be at Detroit. And coverage starts 6:30, kickoff 7:15 right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Then moving over to Sunday, we've got a 3-game slate. Starts with the Browns and the Steelers, 11 a.m. coverage, kickoff at 12, followed by the Bears at the 49ers, and then followed by Sunday Night Football, the Chargers at the Chiefs. I feel like the Chiefs have had a home game like every week. I'm waiting for them to be on the road, and it just doesn't seem to happen. The Chargers are traveling again.
I felt like they were on the road a lot to start the year, though.
That's probably true, because I think they've been on quite a aggressive home run here. But yeah,
they've also had to play like 4 games in 10 days or something.
And there's a team coming up over is it the Steelers that's got to play like 3 games in 10 or 11, some crazy stat like that. It's like a Thursday night, and a Sunday, and then they have that Saturday game in there. I think it's the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken.
Might be,
because I saw somebody kind of complaining about that from the Steelers thing. But hey, I know rest is important in football, but at the same time, if you're playing good football, you want to kind of keep it going. But yeah, Chargers and Chiefs Sunday Night Football coverage starts at 6:30, kickoff 7:20 there. Why can't Sunday Night Football have it at 7:15 as well?
I mean, it's 5 minutes.
I know, but the other two are for 7:15. Is that 5 minutes so Carrie can get her song in?
Maybe so.
That's fair. I'll give it to her.
Maybe it's like last week you had the Bucs and the Panthers in overtime, you know?
Yeah. That's true. You got to give that buffer just in case.
Yeah, you got to give people
because that's the slate after the because that game
Monday
really
and Thursday. That's it. That's all you got.
That's true.
Except for we do have another doubleheader of Monday Night Football games, I believe, on the 16th. So,
wow, we're just drinking from the fire hose when it comes to football here. Yeah. The next 2 months, really. But yeah, no, that makes more sense. You got all those games leading up to it. Yeah, I mean, you only had 20 minutes in between the end of that game and the start of the Sunday Night Football game this past weekend. The drumming that the Bills did to the Niners. And then, of course, Monday night.
Such a boring game.
Oh, it was terrible. The only exciting thing is that it was snowing.
Well, and the Amari Cooper, the Josh Allen to Amari Cooper back to Allen touchdown.
That was cool.
Backyard football action. I was like, dang, we can't even do that in flag football.
No, you can't. You can't. Once it goes past the line of scrimmage, you can't lateral it. But yeah, I mean, that's what snow games are for, right? You're supposed to go out there and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're up like that.
I know. Whew. So next year started yet? Oh, man. And then Monday Night Football, Bengals at the Cowboys. Cowboys keep winning and keep knocking that draft stock a little bit further down after that.
Which, is neither here nor there.
Yeah, you're trying to win football games.
Right. Like, as a Titans fan, if they, are in a game to win it, I want to see them win rather than lose. But I'm sick. Like, come on, man. Why do we keep on? The Cowboys are in like 2 or 3 more primetime slots. It's like they're not a primetime team this year, okay?
No. I mean, I know they're the biggest draw, America's team. But yeah, start flexing. Like, the Thursday night football game is fantastic. That's all you could possibly want out of a great primetime game.
They flexed the daggum, the first ever Thursday night football game, right? But it was a Thanksgiving game. If you can do that, you can
flex any
there's better games on the slate.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's all your action coming up. And of course, we've got some Auburn Tiger basketball coming up tomorrow night as well. We'll talk a little bit about that with Brad Law when we get to the next segment here today. Some afternoon delight debriefs, days after Bryson DeChambeau, as Jay said, finally completed his feat of getting a hole-in-one over his house after trying, was replicated. Not the same house, little smaller house, little smaller dude, but a young golfer recreated Bryson DeChambeau's hole-in-one challenge and beat him by 8 or 10 days. Knocked it right over his garage. They had a little backyard putting green. Boom, knocked it in the jar. And so pretty cool stuff from the little kid. But hey, and that's why I like what Bryson DeChambeau is doing.
Yeah.
You're engaging the youth, and he's out there hitting balls over his garage trying to knock it in the hole.
That was his garage he was hitting it over? That's a
the kid. The kid was. Bryson DeChambeau's obviously got a multi-million-dollar mansion.
I was like, golly, it was like all glass, wasn't it?
Yeah, don't hit that one thin.
No.
He's got the money to fix it, though. All that glass is probably bulletproof or something like that. But yeah, so I thought that was cool. Saw that come through my feed today. A young Californian kid did it in 10 days shorter than Bryson DeChambeau did. A couple things from Odd News catching up. A German man attempts to break record for living underwater. The 59-year-old German man is more than 60 days into his attempt to break the Guinness World Records for longest time spent living in an underwater fixed habitat. Rudiger Koch, Coach Koch. Anyway, it looked like Ed Koch, the judge.
Gotcha.
An aerospace engineer has been living and working for 2 months in an underwater capsule off the coast of Puerto Lindo, Panama, in the Caribbean Sea. I think our Navy divers do this for like 90 days.
Oh, man.
They probably already got the world records. Koch's living space measures about 322 square feet and features a portable toilet. Portable? Yeah, portable toilet, a TV, a computer, a bed, a stationary bike, solar power, satellite internet, and multiple fans. He said the on-land luxury he misses the most is a shower. It's not particularly hard. I don't feel like I'm suffering down here at all, although the hardest part, sometimes I want to go diving, he told CBS News. He began his record attempt on September 26th and plans to emerge January 24th after spending 120 days underwater. The current record for the longest time spent living in an underwater fixed habitat stands at 100 days and was set by Joseph Dituri off the Florida coast in 2023. I wonder, do you just like, all right, I'm stopping, but you could probably keep going? I don't know.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, if you got TV and all that, I don't know. But yeah, that's a long time just confined.
Yeah, and
332 square feet.
Yeah, that's not something I would want to take part of at all.
Yeah, 60 days into it. Interesting.
So you got 60 more days to go.
60 more days to go. He's
break them records, brother. And then someone will break it, and you'll be a afterthought, and that would have been a waste of 120 days. But depending on how you look at it, that's what matters. Do what you love to do.
Perspective is key. Here's another one. We talk about these all the time. Lost dog found more than 400 miles from home after 3 weeks. I'm telling you, these animals get around. And it was a pug. A pug named Bruno is back with his family in California after turning up more than 400 miles from home.
How did that thing not get ate?
At a shelter in Oregon. The Humane Society of Central Oregon and Bend said the pug was brought in recently and scanned for a microchip, which identified him as Bruno. The 6-year-old 2-year-old dog reported missing in Sacramento, California. Bruno's owner, identified as Lorenzo, said his family left Bruno with a dog sitter on November 8th, and the canine ended up escaping from the backyard. The furry fugitive turned up weeks later at an AM/PM gas station in Southern Bend. Bruno's whereabouts for those 3 weeks and how he managed to travel more than 400 miles remain a mystery. I'm going to guarantee somebody loaded him up in a car.
I was about to say, how do we know that the dog sitter didn't do this? Like, maybe, used the bathroom where it ought not to or something, and just said, you know what, we're going 400 miles away.
We're going up. Punishment. Lorenzo is reunited with Bruno at the shelter on Friday. It will be a surprise to his kids who do not know the dog has been found safe, the shelter said on social media. Tell the kids. They're worried. Why are you holding out that information?
They probably are wanting a new puppy for Christmas.
Bruno comes back and nobody wants him. He's like, come on, guys.
All right, I'm out again. See ya.
I'm going back up to Oregon. But yes, 400 miles up the up
That's
the coast.
a long way, man.
Bend, that's up there in the Bandon Dunes area. All right. Restaurant breaks. Is it kebab or kebab? I always thought it was
like a
meat stick.
Yeah,
yep.
Kebab.
That's
what I call it.
That's what I always said too.
Is it spelled kebab over there?
Well, I think it's spelled kebab either way. K-E-B-A-B. I had I still have a friend from Wales, and he pronounced things funny because he was Welsh and he had a different accent. But kebab is what he always said.
It's a kebab.
Yep. But anyway, a restaurant breaks kebab world record at an Australian festival. This is a big number. An Australian restaurant cooked up 1,212 pounds of kebab meat and French fries to feed festival attendees and break a Guinness World Record. The King Kebab House in Campbelltown, New South Wales, started with 660 pounds of uncooked fries and more than 1,300 pounds of uncooked chicken and beef to break the record at the Campbellton Street Festival. The finished kebab weighed in at 660 pounds and was served along 552 pounds of cooked fries. And this is a weird ad. It just popped up. It's a Zen ad, too. It just completely dominated this story that I was trying to read. Jay's not here, computer. He doesn't know. Anyway, it was 552 pounds of cooked fries to complete the meal. The food was laid out on a series of tables measuring over 300 feet long before being served to festival goers. The massive meal took the Guinness Book World Records for the largest serving of doner kebab meat and chips. The Campbelltown community has been incredibly generous and supportive of our business over the years. We felt this was the perfect way to say thank you and give something back. King Kebab house owner and operator Melvana Sifsi told the Guinness World Records, "We wanted to create a moment that Campbelltown could be proud of, a moment that would unite and bring recognition to our town on a global scale." I don't know about a global scale, but at least here in Northwest Florida, everybody that's listening now knows about it. If you want meat and fries to the tune of 1,212 pounds, you can head on over there to New South Wales in Australia.
I don't know why, but that just makes me want a gyro.
Yeah. It kind of makes you, feel like, it's not lamb.
Where's a good place to get a gyro from on the beach side?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Chime in, ladies and gentlemen. We know that's what get the text lines going. 850-215-6290. Where should I get my gyro from?
Food. Here's a one that nobody likes to hear about. Highway driver finds venomous snake slithering up her leg. Police investigating a report of a woman acting erratically at the side of the freeway. Police investigating a report of a woman acting erratically at the side of a freeway learned she had pulled over as a result of a deadly tiger snake slithering up her leg. This has to be in Australia. Yes, Victoria, Australia. Okay. Victoria police said in a news release that officers responded to reports of a barefoot woman on the side of the Monash Freeway near the Torrick Road exit, attempting to flag down passing vehicles at 10:40 a.m. on Saturday. Why is she attempting to flag them down? Just go. Woman told officers she had been driving about 50 miles an hour on the freeway when she felt something touch her foot and looked down to see see a large snake climbing her leg. This is one of 8 million reasons not to move to Australia. Remarkably,
I mean, it's not like we don't got venomous snakes around here.
Not the concentration that the island and country of Australia does.
That's fair.
Remarkably, she was able to fend off the snake and weave her way through traffic before pulling over and leaping out of her car to safety, police wrote. The woman was examined by paramedics and determined to be uninjured while police weighed the options for dealing with the slithering stowaway. Should have just shot it. Needless to say, slapping the cuffs on the offender wasn't an option.
You should have shot it while it's in the car? Like
No. They get it. I don't know. Just shoot the snake. Be done with it. Be done with it. It might be, don't make a mistake. But yeah, no legs, arms, and shoulders. Can't handcuff it.
That's true.
So like I said, needless to say, slapping the cuffs on this offender wasn't an option, so officers called in the specialist forces. Melbourne Snake Control, see, it's not even animal control over there, it's snake control.
Dedicated to one animal.
Yeah. Was contacted. You just have to not be afraid, I guess. Was contacted, and a rescuer named Tim, of course, Tim, arrived and confirmed the serpent was a tiger snake, the 4th most venomous snake in the world.
You lucky you didn't get bit there, young lady.
She needs to go buy as many lottery tickets as she can, the fact that she didn't get bit by that snake. Passing motorists were left in bewilderment as the massive snake was safely removed from the vehicle, police wrote, and ended up more bizarre welfare checks you will ever hear about. What do they say when you get out of the car? Make sure if you have kids, look back. Make sure you don't leave anybody in a seat back there. If you're in Australia, make sure you look at your floorboard first, and there's no snakes slithering around in there. That wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be a good time.
No, I mean... And the thing, you can't just like stomp at it.
Yeah. And then it's like a movie. Oh, that sounds terrible. Oh, goodness. All right, we got time.
But you can't shoot at it either, because then you're probably going to blow yourself up.
I meant like the officers getting the snake out and then shooting the... I'm not saying she needs to pull one out and just start firing in the floorboard. And hey, maybe she's got, maybe it's an older car and had some... You can get in easily through those floorboards. Oh, Jay's story from yesterday popped up on here. The $2.53 in compensation from the Mars Smooth bar. Oh, goodness. All right, let's do this one, and then we'll get ready for Bradlaw coming up. Nick DiGiovanni, Dunkin' break world record for largest ice latte. Feels like we're wasting so much food and different things.
Yeah.
There's places all over the world where they got nothing.
Even right here in our own backyard. I mean, how many people, we throw away food from grocery stores and whatnot and restaurants, and I mean, I get your profit margins and everything.
If you're into watching movies right now, there's
I'm making them I'm making an hour into these things.
That's like 90% more than normal. We've watched it. I've been telling a lot of people it's on Netflix. It's called Buy It Now or Buy Now, and it's talks about just the waste that's going on with everything, and and
I'm not even a conservationist or conservationalist or whatever, but I just think that and there's also the whole side of things of if you do want to eat, you gotta work. That's kind of how we got this country started, right?
No doubt.
There's different situationally.
Yeah, it's called Buy Now, Pay Later.
Buy Now, Pay Later,
and it just talks about because there's new stuff coming out constantly, and the clothing, and you go to these departments, half the stuff just gets brand new thrown away.
I don't even buy it. I ain't spending more than $10 on a t-shirt these days.
You don't have to.
My goodness. TJ Maxx, Ross, Marshalls even. Sometimes Marshalls. Yeah.
And most of that stuff ends up going to Pakistan and India and gets in their rivers and all that stuff.
Oh my
God. And I'm not a big, like that too, but it's crazy. It opened up my eyes to a huge problem that's coming down the road with no end in sight.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Other than incinerating everything, but that can't be good for something either. So I don't know, but where we're going here? Okay, this was what was this one? Oh yeah, Nick Giovanni, Dunkin' break world record for largest ice latte. Social media star Nick DiGiovanni teamed up with Dunkin' to break the Guinness World Records for the largest ice latte. DiGiovanni Giovanni, a chef and social media influencer with multiple Guinness World Records titles, filled an 11-foot-high Dunkin' cup with ice, milk, and espresso to take on the record. Guinness broke a world records confirmed the resulting 276-gallon beverage was the world's largest ice latte. Why did it have to be 276? Did somebody already do it at 275?
I think like the common theme here is with these records. Well, it's like all right, we got to beat it by like 5 ounces or whatever,
Yeah.
So my gosh.
Yeah, let's just absolutely destroy it. The massive latte was then portioned out into smaller cups and served to more than 300 employees at Dunkin's corporate offices in Massachusetts. So there you go. All right, we got to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by Brad Law. He's Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Radio Network. We're going to talk to him about the final game of the Auburn football season and then previewing the basketball season and the number 2 Auburn Tigers. You're listening to The Inside Drive on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
She's good. She make the trip?
She did.
Nice.
Yep.
She's just a traveling dog.
She is a traveling dog. She loves the car, and it's great.
Nice.
But I got to get your pet spayed or neutered.
Fair.
Reduce the pet population. Thanks, Bob.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Clear the rest of the day with a wind at 10 miles per hour out of the north and 57. Tonight, look for a light wind and clear skies with a temperature near 39. Tomorrow, a high around 61 and sunshine. Thursday, quite warm with a high of 69 and mostly clouds in the early morning and then a chance of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's the season of New Traditions sales event going on now at Bill Bird Kia. Now offering 1.9% APR for up to 60 months of the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento or a new 2025 Kia Sportage. Take your next holiday adventure in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento or new 2025 Kia Sportage with $1,748 per month per $1,000 financed in 60 months. Quality is limited, not to be combined with other finance offers and not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 1/2/25.
Do you suffer from political talk radio fatigue?
We know that under the 99% rate, the U.S. economy is
Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It is our good friend and the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Network, Brad Law, on the line with us this Tuesday after Iron Bowl week and also previewing a huge basketball game for the Auburn Tigers coming up tomorrow night right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Brad, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, a wonderful Iron Bowl, and, of course, enjoyed that Maui Invitational.
Got a lot of things to be thankful for, Ryan, and we certainly observed that, and glad to be back on with you. Hope you guys had a good holiday, and now we're into the thick of December and all of the joy and hustle and bustle that brings. So good to talk to you again.
Yes, appreciate you coming on as always. So the 2024 Auburn football season officially in the books, 5-7 with the Iron Bowl loss there to the Alabama Crimson Tide. But we hadn't talked, and obviously Auburn had a huge victory there in Jordan-Hare Stadium the week before in overtime against Texas A&M. A lot of recruits, around for that game. And how big was that win for Auburn? Just to kind of give a little explanation point on the kind of the end of the season.
Well, it was good, and I think you could see that by the fan reaction and the player reaction that it meant a lot last home game for a lot of these guys. Luke Deal is a guy that I think of. He has unmemorable stats. He's not a guy who's going to go down as one of the great on-field performers in Auburn football history, but he lost his dad his freshman year here to ALS, and there was a campaign to help him and his family and to support them, and he leaves campus having been married, and his wife gave birth to their son within the last year. So, he goes from losing his father to becoming a father and being one of the vocal leaders on this team, and he got to celebrate in his last home game at Jordan-Hare with Auburn's first win over a ranked team in 3 years. Can't believe it had been that long, but it had. So, yeah, it was important. We're not going to remember this team for its on-field accomplishments. My hope is that we remember this team as foundation layers for what is coming, and that game is one piece of that. It's that seedling that sprouts just a little bit, and you begin to see what's going to come up out of the ground. That's maybe the way that we remember this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of those guys that have been playing at Auburn for a while, Jarquez Hunter, obviously one of them. Peyton Thornton played the last 2 years at Auburn after transferring from Michigan State. Talk about the legacy a guy like Jarquez Hunter leaves at Auburn. He had a great post on social media thanking Auburn, and he's saying he hope he left a legacy, and he hope he made the Auburn fan base, alum, coaches, all those people proud. And I think Jarquez is going to go on to have a nice NFL career. Obviously, he'll be declaring for the draft and hopefully getting picked up by somebody good. But, obviously a very special player. Auburn's had a history of some fantastic running backs. But there's been some players in this, this senior class, these upperclassmen that have spent several years at Auburn and have been through a lot of turnover and different things, but, stayed true to the program. And, Jarquez made it very clear that Auburn was always his dream school to go play football at, and his time at Auburn has now come to an end.
Jarquez came out of high school, Neshoba Central in Philadelphia, Mississippi. He came out at 5'10", 190. He was a 3-star running back. He was rated the 40th running back in the class his senior year, 40th in the class. He was rated the 10th best player in the state of Mississippi by 247. So you take a guy who was rated the number 40 running back in that class, and he leaves as one of the top 5 rushers statistically in Auburn football history. This ain't the top 10 rushers in Florida Gulf Coast, with all due respect. Like, this is Auburn football.
Yeah.
This is the home of, Bo Jackson and Carnell Williams and Ronnie Brown and James Brooks and James Bostic and count Stephen Davis and Kerryon Johnson and Tank Bigsby and all these other guys. And it's Jarquez who leaves as a top 5 running back in Auburn football history, a guy who sat behind Tank his first couple of years and then only had 2 years as a feature starter. Can't say enough about his dedication to Auburn. He has overcome some adversity. He waited his turn. He put in work. He's strong. He's humble. And he's going to be remembered very, very fondly for his time at Auburn, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. In an era of college football where people, if they don't, quote unquote, get what they think they deserve, they jump ship quick. And nice to see some of these guys that have waited their time and put it in and all that. And I caught some clips of Peyton Thorne after the Iron Bowl. He spent time. He stayed very classy. Obviously, Peyton Thorne has kind of been praised one game, hammered the next game, but he stayed in there answering all the media questions and had some really good things to say about his 2 years at Auburn. He said he met a lot of great people. I've built a lot of really good relationships. There have been a lot of frustrations too in terms of football. I try my best not to focus on those. I've been blessed to be here in a program like this and be around the people I've been around. Those are things I'll do my best to remember. I wish it could have gone differently, but at the same time, everything happens for a reason, and I have faith that goodwill comes out of this, and I have a lot of good already come out of this. I'm excited for what's next. I'll trust in God for the plan that he has, whatever is next for me. War Eagle, and thank you guys. Really cool to see Peyton Thornton, who's kind of been through the ringer, in and out, up and down, up and down, up and down. Obviously wasn't Hugh Freeze's guy that he brought in, but Hugh Freeze stuck with him through his last year here. So just kind of cool to hear Peyton kind of reflect on his time at Auburn, and I thought he did a really good thing and really classy from Peyton Thorne there.
Yeah, and there's, Peyton's not going to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
Peyton was rated, again, going back to his 247 recruiting profile, he was rated the 43rd best quarterback in his class 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He was rated the 586th best player overall, the 18th best dual threat quarterback in that class, a 3-star guy. So what you saw on the field was not a 5-star prospect that was a bust. What you saw was a 3-star prospect who was about middle of the pack in his high school recruiting class, come out and play in the toughest conference in college football for 2 years in a rebuild of an offense that had been devoid of offensive line recruiting for about 5 seasons, and was looking for some continuity and consistency. Peyton didn't play. He had ups and downs. There were some times where he showed you tremendous toughness and accuracy and gamesmanship and the ability to lead the team. And there were other times that he made decisions where you scratch your head and you go, that's not what an elite quarterback does.
Yeah.
But after every single game, he answered media questions. He continued to fulfill those obligations in an era where it is way too easy, and it happens everywhere where guys go, no, I'm just not going to do media, just not going to answer questions, just not going to do it.
Yeah.
He never did that. So this is where you remember that now that his playing career is over, that he is so much more than a quarterback on a football team, and I'm impressed by his the way that he carries himself in situations like that. We would like to see him the way he carried himself in winning situations more often, and not as well in losing situations, but because of the way he carries himself, I think this long, hopefully life after football, he's going to have success because of the way he carries himself.
Yeah, no doubt. Saw the true character outside of football, and that's just so very important. Because I mean, a lot of these guys and playing at big time programs, you're not going to keep. This is like you said. That was his last football game, probably as a starting quarterback. And it's just one of those things. You got to embrace the time you were there, and then look to what's forward. And speaking of looking what's forward, what's kind of next during the off season here for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers? I know they got a huge recruiting class coming in, but season's end, that doesn't mean it's time for break. I'm assuming Hugh Freeze getting back out there on the trail.
Yeah, you got to finish the recruiting class now that the first day of the early signing period is bumped up to Wednesday. I mean, tomorrow is it. So, you're trying to make all the calls and FaceTimes you can today to try and lock up that recruiting class. Make sure guys who are committed to you are going to stay with you and sign tomorrow. And then make sure that guys, if you got a chance to flip somebody, you got to shore all that up too. And it's so different from what it was even 5 years ago, but certainly 10, 20 years ago. You got to talk to your general manager or your, player personnel guy, your GM, your NIL representatives and that team. And it's more of a collective effort now. No pun intended with these collectives out there, but it is more of a collective effort now than it ever has been. And it's a very, very busy day. I mean, these guys are acting like Fortune 500 companies for the next 24 hours trying to lock in these classes.
Yep, no doubt. And you're starting to see moves like the Andrew Luck move with Stanford that was announced a couple days ago, taking over the GM of a football program, which is more like the NFL model, of course. But like you just said, with all the things that you deal with now in the college football world, you're almost going to, I think you're going to start seeing more and more people take those kind of positions.
Everything about the game is more resembling the NFL than it ever has, and it will continue to move in that direction. I hope that the way we advertise the playoff continues to model the NFL as well. That's the big change. You didn't ask, but that's the big change I would like to see. I'd like us not to talk about the playoff 24/7 when it's week 3 of the season or week 8 of the season. Or my biggest pet peeve, I'm telling you, all these rivalry games from this past Saturday, great rivalries.
Yep.
Good, clean, old-fashioned hate. Georgia Tech, an 8 overtime game. That game is a star.
Yep.
The playoff should have been a secondary or even non-existent conversation. The Iron Bowl, the Palmetto battle between South Carolina and Clemson, a top 20 game. Let the game be the star. We don't focus on what it's going to mean for the NFL playoffs until it's playoff time. And I hope we get there soon with college football, where we talk about the playoff when it's time for the playoff, and we let the games be the stars otherwise because, the games are good enough to be the stars. But in every other way, Ryan, we are make no mistake, we are moving toward the NFLization of college football.
Yeah, no doubt. Money's certainly driving everything. I like that take, Brad. I like, focus on the games. The games are what matter, and the playoff will certainly come once we're finished up with the conference championships. All right, pivoting.
You got 12 teams that are going to be in the playoff. You got 120 other teams that aren't. And what those guys do throughout the year, what those coaches, what those players, what those fans, they're no less valuable because they don't make the playoff, especially when it's September or October. Let's let the games be the star, is my point.
No, I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of stars, the Auburn men's basketball team continues a great early season run here, now ranked number 2 in the AP poll that came out yesterday after a great 3-game run last week in the Maui Invitational. Obviously, we talked to you a couple weeks ago kind of previewing that Maui Invitational. The 3rd ever SEC team, now a couple of these teams are now in the SEC, but at the time, 3rd ever SEC team to win that Maui Invitational. I think a 50, 60-year history, something like that. But started out with a very tough opponent, number 5 ranked Iowa State. They were down 18 points, I believe, at halftime in that one, and came back. Their only lead of the game was all they needed to win that one, 83-81, and then jumped to play the number 12 ranked UNC Tar Heels and cruised in that game. Final score of that one, 85-72, and then in the championship game there, played a Memphis team that looked just a little outmatched with the Auburn Tigers. Final score in that one, 90-76, to bring home the Maui Invitational Trophy. How huge was this little run here right before Thanksgiving? Obviously, it's the first month of the season, very early. We don't hit conference play until next year. But how important is it kind of Auburn to get out to this hot start and let everybody know, hey, we're one of the best teams in the country, and we don't care who we're going to play. We'll line up on whoever we need to on the hardwood and go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, it's tremendous for confidence. It's tremendous for the phrase that we use pretty often is proof of concept.
Yes.
So, man, Bruce works these guys very hard. It's like anybody else who's coaching at any level listening right now. If you have a team that you know is capable of doing special things, you ride that team harder than the team that maybe is young and needs to grow a little bit. And, you know what your teams can handle. Be in sports or anything else, even in business, you know what your team can handle, and you push them. And he pushes this team very hard. And what they showed in Maui, that there's not another situation where you're going to play 3 high-quality opponents in 3 days.
3 days is what the crazy part is.
Yeah, exactly. And they seem to get stronger because the final 50 minutes that they played, they were like RoboCop. They were superhuman. They erased the deficit to Iowa State, so they dominated the second half of Iowa State, and then never trailed against North Carolina or Memphis in the championship game. So you have now, doing that accomplishes this. You're not going to have a tougher prep or physical toll on your body than 3 games against quality opponents in 48 hours. You might play 2 in a 48-hour span in the NCAA tournament. You might play 3 games in 48 hours in the SEC tournament, but with all due respect to everybody in the league, it's not quite going to be the same as Iowa State, North Carolina, and Memphis. So you've worked hard, you've prepped, and this was the result you got. So now when you're asked to work hard and prep for a single game or a tournament in the future this season, or a game like tomorrow at Duke, you've got proof of concept. You know what can happen when you put in that kind of work. So I think that's the big takeaway from Maui, and that Johni Broome's the best player in college basketball.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question here. A stat you probably already know. Only 2 players across the NBA, WNBA, and Division I, men's and women's, have recorded 145-plus points, 90-plus rebounds, 20-plus assists, and 20-plus blocks on their first 7 games of a season across all those levels of basketball. Obviously, Broome coming back this year is a huge thing for Auburn basketball. He could have declared for the draft. He's obviously going to be drafted once he does. But the impact of Broome and this team, I think, is, like say, he's getting those early talks for Player of the Year and stuff like that. Do we see him keeping this up through the rest of the season? He's just a fantastic basketball player that has unbelievable touch around the rim.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. He's improved his offensive game drastically each year that he's been here. Remember, he came in as the OVC Defensive Player of the Year 3 years ago. And, Bruce and his staff, they're wonderful promoters. They're full of energy. They're recruiting at a very high level, but they're developers as well. And I think Janai is another testament to that and the work that he's put in. Janai is one of these guys, he's real easy to root for. He reminds me of Jabari Smith in that he approaches the game like a professional. He approaches practice like a pro. He approaches media obligations like a pro. He approaches the game like a pro. Some guys are disappointed if they're double teamed and, they're held to 12 points or whatever, and they get real frustrated and they let it affect his defense. No, he knows, he likes that the double teams are starting to come because now he can show off what a good assist guy that he is. And that's genuine. And, man, when you got a guy who can score, can defend, and can pass all at a very high level, and then you have the complementary players both inside and out, you're a very tough team to prepare for, as was shown in Maui last week.
And it just getting back to the whole 3 games in 3 days, I mean, I was so impressed by the stamina and just the effort from start to finish of each one of those games. Even late in those games, they're just moving the ball so much, the hustle, the defense. I know I've been watching a lot of Auburn basketball over the last 10 years, and this team just seems, we've had some great teams, this team just seems a little different than the rest of them as far as the overall, obviously, talent and chemistry and just work ethic. It's a lot of fun to watch, especially, with the, the football season that we had and trying to build that back up. It's nice that we have the basketball team looking so good. I know we're running a little bit long, but I want to get to this game coming up tomorrow night. It'll be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Number 2 ranked Auburn traveling to arguably one of the other most difficult venues in college basketball, the small Cameron Indoor Stadium. The Cameron Crazies are going to be hyped up for this one. It's kind of started that SEC, ACC challenge there. But what is obviously Auburn's just got to keep doing what they're doing, right? Play good defense, move the ball, score when they need to, and it's another huge early season matchup out of conference for the Auburn Tigers.
I think it's the game of the year so far, even with all the teams that Auburn has played. This is Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant in WrestleMania 3. This is the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. This is Auburn's number 1 offense, according to Ken Palm's national adjusted efficiency ratings. Auburn with the number 1 offense, Duke with the number 1 defense, according to Ken Palm. Duke is also the tallest team in the country. And there have only been 2 other teams ranked 1 or 2 in non-conference play to go to Cameron Indoor Stadium since 1965. The last to do it was 1992. It is Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, man, at the Pontiac Silverdome. And I cannot wait. It is an absolute treat to be a part of this broadcast and to be a small part of this game. It's another opportunity for Auburn to plant its flag nationally, symbolically, with so many eyeballs on this game tomorrow night against the bluest of blue blood programs. And we're, a little over 24 hours away.
No doubt. And who's planting that flag? Who's the matchup for Cooper? Is it Cardwell or is it Broome?
I think it's going to be a combination of those guys. I think Chaney Johnson will even draw him a little bit as well, but it's mainly Broome. And I like Janai. Cooper can step out and he can shoot the 3. Janai can guard the 3. Dillon can guard the 3 a little bit as well, but I think, look, it's best player against best player.
Yeah.
It's flag against Broome. That's who the scouts are going to see. But, again, to kind of keep with the theme of let the game be the star, there's plenty of time for those guys to make their money in the NBA. Tomorrow night, it's about the college game. It's Auburn and Duke. It's flag and Broome. And it's the Cameron Crazies. And that's who I think is on Cooper most of the night.
Oh, it's going to be a fun one, that's for sure. We're looking forward to listening to it right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Brad, I know it took a little bit more of your time than I normally do. I appreciate you as always, and enjoy tomorrow night, and hopefully Auburn can get a dub and War Eagle.
And no more taxes on overtime. It's totally cool. I love it, and it's great to be back with you again, War Eagle.
There you go. That's Brad Law. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Radio Network. We got one segment to go on this beautiful Tuesday, minus Jay. Hope they're playing well. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the most college basketball.
Three-pointer, college basketball is back.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
The SEC, ACC, and beyond.
Oh, you saw that coming, Radford.
The biggest games play right here.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Lucid Stream TV. Get over 2,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch local network channels from most major markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Lucid Stream TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch 10,000 movies on demand, including recent theater releases. Just $41.99 a month when you use the ESPN-NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Lucid Stream TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Lucid Stream TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Lucid Stream TV logo.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Is your backyard ready for paradise? Then transform it with B&E Outdoor Furniture. Custom crafted, durable composite furniture with our bent back design built for comfort. And listen up. Through February, get 10% off your first purchase at B&E Outdoor Furniture. Visit our showroom today, 12035 Panama City Beach Parkway, or call 850-240-0830 and see our collection online at beandoutdoorfurniture.com. B&E Outdoor Furniture. Get a deal for a steal.
Coming in hot.
So hot.
A little bit hot, one really hot. God damn.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, coming up from 4 to 6 p.m. tonight, you got David Hayes and the Afternoon Underdogs. That'll be live on 104.3. Also live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Northwest Florida.
Northwest Florida.
That song reminded me of the other Christmas movie. I just remembered it. Is The Night Before with Seth Rogen. If you haven't
I have not seen that.
That one is hilarious, bro.
Is always a good.
Oh yeah, Bad Santa doesn't even really. Bad Santa 2, anyways, didn't really hold a candle at all to that movie.
Yeah,
The Night Before is golden.
When you think about Christmas movies, you think more not about the comedies, but there's so many.
Yeah, I didn't watch any traditional.
Yeah.
No. Violent Night was like that was not very traditional.
Doesn't sound traditional.
No, but it was good though.
Yeah. No, I
got about 45 minutes into that one.
Okay, that's still good.
But I watched 100% of The Night Before, 100% of Bad Santa, and Daddy's Home or whatever, Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. There you go. What do you think? I just saw this being talked.
I don't care. No.
Yeah, Ryan, you know I don't care about that. That's my best Jay Hanley impression. The Golden at bat.
Oh, stupid.
Yeah.
Among all of the new stupid rules. Not all of them are stupid. They haven't really dramatically changed the game, if you will. But, yeah, absolutely hate this. I think it's the most stupid thing that's been thought up. I don't think that they'll start doing it. So explain what the Golden
No, for
is
those who
before I
don't
just,
know,
like,
yeah, no,
continue.
and I agree. When I saw this, I was like, wait, what? What are we doing here? Are we playing video games or something? But
You can't even do that in video games.
That's true. That's true. But they've added, the pitch clocks, the bigger bases, you can only pitch out 2, 3 on the third time. If you don't get him, he gets
disengagement.
Yeah, the disengagement. So there's been several rules, and sometimes I feel like the governing bodies, they we've made some changes and it's been good, so let's do something even crazier. So the golden at-bat rule that's being tossed around, for those who don't know, what is it? A manager can use a golden at-bat per game to slot their preferred batter into the order for a single at-bat. I'm in the on-deck circle with the bases loaded, and Juan Soto is on the bench. So you simply send Soto to the plate instead of me. There are different permutations being discussed. Many teams can only use this in the 7th inning or later, or maybe it's only something that a trailing team can use. They'd have to figure out how to adjust the batting order too. What if Soto's spot on the card is up after mine? Does he just bat twice? No clear answers here yet. Is this actually happening? There are no imminent plans, as Jason from The Athletic reported, but he's astutely noted that the original mention of this came from MLB Commissioner Ron Manfred himself on a Puck podcast. So now there's no way to really gather any feedback. But
again, it's just it's ridiculousness. I don't mind, sparking ideas or whatever, but as soon as someone mentioned that idea, the rest of the room should have said, nope, okay, let's move on here. We've got 9 people in the batting order. Like, we're sticking with that.
Yeah,
we're sticking with that.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why do we? There's no need.
You've already got your golden at bat. It's called the designated hitter.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can adjust your lineup before every game to do whatever you want to do. But yeah. So I just wanted to. I knew your answer on that one, but just if people hadn't heard about it,
if there was a baseball person, like you've loved baseball your whole life, or you've grown to love the sport of baseball, and you told me that you like this rule, I would say that is despicable.
Yep, you're like, I don't trust your baseball acumen at all.
Really, maybe this is something, when I'm dead and gone, that they can, if the kids want it that bad, then hey, do what you got to do. But we've already, made the game easier, right?
Yep.
It's a whole lot easier to steal. It's easier. It's okay. The game is still hard in the sense of the fundamentals of it's a if you're hitting at 30%, if you're getting on base at 35-40%, you're doing phenomenal, right?
The top end,
Okay, but now we're, making everything basically offensively based. It's easier to steal bases. It's harder to pick guys off for the most part, because once you've disengaged twice, if you go over there again and you don't get him, then he automatically gets to take second base. Both leagues now have the designated hitter. The bases are bigger. Things that you've already mentioned. The pitch clock is more difficult, I would say, from the pitcher's perspective, unless it's a pitcher who likes to pitch in rhythm. So, yeah, it's just another thing to help the offense out. And I think these days, when you have guys like Paul Skeens coming up and everything, it's like, are we trying to ruin what a pitcher brings to the table? How many people are complaining about the fact that, starting pitchers are only going 5 innings, and that's like, holy cow, that's a quality start. Like, that's a above quality start. I don't get why they want to mess with a game that has actually started. The rules helped. I'm not going to lie to the
created
overall,
more engagement.
Yeah.
The casual fan, more people are watching baseball. It's not taking as long. You've made improvements. Let those improvements ride out.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not just start. Oh my gosh, I don't think that they'll do anything with this, but we are going to see those robo-umps in spring training this year. So
interesting.
Which I like the way that they've done it at. I believe it's the AA level, where you get so many a game, and all you do is you tap your helmet, and then boom, it goes up, and you've got your answer. It's not like football where we're sitting there for 3 minutes, like, let's watch this replay 200 times and see what we all think here.
Still go with the thing that we don't think is what it should have been.
What?
Oh, times are different, no doubt about it. Some local sports coming up tonight. You've got North Bay Haven traveling to play Mariana in boys soccer. South Walton making the trip over from Walton County to play Mosley. That's in boys soccer as well. Arnold gets back out on the field against a tough tough matchup against 4-1-1 Gulf Breeze. That is on the road. Arnold is 3-0-1 after a tie a couple weeks ago. Port St. Joe also traveling up to Bozeman. Both teams have not got a win on the season yet. Some scores from yesterday. Don't have one for the Mariana Rutherford boys soccer game. Niceville beat Bay 8-0 in that one. Niceville just a good soccer team. Bay drops to 0-7. And then I don't think this score is right. I don't think Mosley beat Arnold 154-94 in girls basketball. I'm going to guess that
wait a second. One more again. Let me hear that.
154-94.
Man,
I don't think
that's
there's
rough.
enough time to make that happen in girls varsity basketball. So that might be a typo there for whoever entered in the score, especially considering it was 9-12 in the first quarter.
Did they just win?
Mostly, it goes 12, 31, 52, and 59. Is 8 minute? 12? 8 minutes?
Oh,
I get confused with middle school because middle school is 8.
I would imagine that I don't think it's going to be 12 minutes because that's NBA.
Yeah.
So I would imagine you're looking at 10 minutes.
Okay, and even so, 59 points in 10 minutes.
No.
So whoever reported that score added a couple extra.
I would say the
digits
score
in
would
there.
be 54-49.
Yeah, that's probably more reasonable, trying to decipher what all transpired there. No more rules, Rita. I agree. Let them keep playing baseball. A couple quick things. I know we only got about a couple minutes left. Currently, your regular season favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, and no doubt on this one, it looks like it's pretty locked in. TJ Watt, -190, way ahead of Pat Surtain and Xavier McKinney at +700. Regular season, most receiving yards, Jamar Chase has got that one pretty locked up right now as far as the odds. Saquon Barkley, most rushing yards if he continues doing what he's doing. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels still a favorite at -225, although Bo Nix has tightened that gap a little bit at +240. Nice to see Brock Bowers in the conversation, leading all players right now in receiving yards for rookies, in addition to the wide receivers as well. So kind of a two-man race in the Offensive Rookie of the Year as well. Most passing yards, unfortunately, Joe Burrow's probably going to win that one. I say unfortunately because it's not really correlating to wins on the football field.
That's a defense.
Man, if they just had a tiny little defense, they'd certainly be looking to be a lot better. Because Joe Burrow has not played bad this year.
No, he's played phenomenal, to be quite frank.
Really, the whole offense.
Yeah.
I mean, you got two players leading your statistics, and it's not correlating to wins. That's why defense is so darn important. On the MVP side of things, Josh Allen starting to stretch it out a little bit. Lamar's fading back. Josh Allen -210. If you got him way earlier this year, you probably would have been closer to that +1,200, +1,300. Saquon Barkley at +500, but I'm pretty sure you want to probably lock him in on your Offensive Player of the Year, as the running backs seem to get that. He is -500 in that one. Derrick Henry +450. I had another stat, but we are just about out of time. We appreciate you guys tuning in on this Tuesday. Go Team Dynasty. Looking forward to getting our winter flag football season started tonight. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
This just in. Get the latest sports news, scores, and updates from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Follow us on Facebook for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes action, live streams, and the chance to interact with your favorite hosts.
Stay connected. Stay connected. Stay connected.
Join the conversation on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Search for ESPN Northwest Florida and crush the follow button.
I follow you on social media.
We're always here to keep you in the game.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Clear the rest of the day with a wind at 10 miles per hour out of the north and 57. Tonight, look for a light wind and clear skies with a temperature near 39. Tomorrow, a high around 61 and sunshine. Thursday, quite warm with a high of 69 and mostly clouds in the early morning and then a chance of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Here at Panama City Toyota,